views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of BronxNet or the program underwriters.
Hola everyone, and welcome to Open, the one and only show bringing the best of the Bronx, New York, and the world straight to you. I'm Rhina Valentin, your host of Café con Leche every Friday. Here's what's coming up in today's show. Leading things off, we'll sit down with a representative from the Foundation of Blindness to discuss the 12th annual VisionWalk taking place right here in New York. After that, we'll find out what Harlem 9 has in store for this year's 48 Hours in El Bronx as they capture some of the most memorable dance clubs in the Boogie Down Bronx. Plus, Bobby C brings us up to date with the latest headlines in the world of sports. And then we'll take a look at my interview with dancer and artistic director Dave Alois Fearon for our Open Artist Spotlight. And lastly, we'll have the opportunity to check out some fabulous hats when we sit with Harriet Rosebud to talk about this year's Great American Hat Show. So sit back y prepárate. All this and more is coming your way because now we are officially open. Hello and welcome to Open, everyone. I'm Rhina Valentin, your host of Café con Leche. Always inviting you to get social with us online. That's right, tweet us and follow us on Instagram at BronxNet TV and like us on Facebook at Open BronxNet Television. And of course, don't forget, while you're there, follow moi on Instagram, FB, Snapchat, LinkedIn, Insta Stories at Rhina Valentin. So, according to the CDC, there are 12 million Americans that are visually impaired and more than 1 million that are blind. The Foundation for Fighting Blindness is all about making a difference for people living with retinal disease. And joining us to discuss their 12th annual Vision Walk taking place April 14th, we welcome Foundation for Fighting Blindness Events Assistant Olivia Nehmeyer. Hello and welcome.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Yes, this is, I think this is a topic that we need to shed a little more light on, right? And let's just talk a little bit about how you got involved first.
So I got involved with the Foundation Fighting Blindness because my grandmother suffered from macular degeneration, and that is the leading cause of blindness in those age 55 and older. So it is a lot more prevalent than one would think. People think inherited retinal disease, it's kind of confusing, but of those 12 million Americans that you spoke of, 10 million suffer from inherited retinal diseases, and those range from macular degeneration to retinitis pigmentosa to Usher syndrome.
And so you say inherited, and so are there any measures that can be taken to prolong it or prevent it?
Well, that's where the foundation kind of comes into play. So what we do is we fund research. We're completely research-based, and what the Vision Walk is funding is the research. So we fund preventions, treatments, and cures. So whether that's pausing someone's vision from becoming decreasingly worse or preventing any more vision loss.
So do you have any success stories?
Well, actually, in December 2017, the U.S. Food and Drug Administration approved a drug treatment called Luxturna, and it has been successfully proven to reduce vision loss.
Okay, so, just because I just recently had an experience with a friend who just went to the doctors just for a regular checkup, and then she had to have emergency surgery due to her retina. I don't know, something erupted in there. And so just in the eye care area, what kind of stories are coming about or coming into play in just this becoming a little bit more of a common
Well, because it's genetic, we have a lot of stories that come in where someone brings their 1-year-old to the doctor for a common checkup, and they hear from the doctor, vision loss is going to be pretty prevalent in your child's life. And our goal is so that no one can go into the doctor and hear your child is going to go blind from an inherited retinal disease. So people are going in with their 4-year-old because whether it's a recessive or dominant gene, they're finding out that they might be the carrier of this gene, even though they don't have vision loss, but now their 4-year-old is experiencing this decline in vision.
Okay, so you answered my question lovely, right? Because I didn't know exactly how to ask, right? Because the idea here is that this Vision Walk is created so that there's funds being raised so that you can fund the researching that needs to happen in order to create, I guess, a prolonged journey or prevent even possibly if we could get to that place.
Exactly.
Right?
So just remember, preventions, treatments, and cures. That's where the research really goes.
And so with the Vision Walk, are the walkers primarily vision impaired, or like how does this work?
So the Vision Walk is great because it's a good mix of people who are either supporting their friends or family members who are experiencing vision loss, or people who are actually visually impaired. And it's really just a great day to celebrate their fundraising success. And the goal of our walk this year is to raise $301,000, and that all goes to sight-saving research. So it's really a fun day. We have refreshments, we have a kids zone, we have a stage presentation, and it's really to celebrate and stand in solidarity with those in the community.
That's lovely. And so let's talk a little bit about the effects diabetes has on eye loss.
So diabetes is something that, and in congruency with vision impairment, is something that we don't work with as much because even though diabetes can be, genetic, its relation is not an inherited retinal disease. But we do have support groups and other networking events, and as well as scientific speakers that come in, especially in New York City. And it really does serve the entire community of those who have visual impairments.
So what other services does your organization offer?
So as well as the Vision Walk, we run events. So we have dinners and galas, and those are all primarily fundraising events. But we also do have support groups, networking groups, and we bring in speakers. So we have a New York City chapter that's very active in the community, and all of our meetings are volunteer-led. So we have a great base of volunteers who really care about the organization, whether they have a visual impairment or it's a loved one. So it's a great community-based organization led by volunteers.
So it's membership-based. So
Yes.
how does one become a member?
So you can visit www.blindness.org and find out much more about the organization, how to become involved, and even it can be as simple as signing up for the email list just to know what's going on, whether you're in New York City or in San Diego, because we are a national organization.
That's wonderful. And are the workshops offered for the visually impaired, or?
It differs. We have some speaking events that are based on gene therapies. Some are just research updates for what's going on in the field of science. So it really is based on what our constituents need at that time.
So in your involvement in coordinating the Vision Walk, what is, what fulfills you the most?
I think what fulfills me the most is working with the committee, and these are our volunteers who also help us put on the event and really raise the funds. Working on it from we start all the way, 6-8 months before planning this, and then the day when everything comes together so perfectly, and of course it's over before you know it, but everyone is just so happy to celebrate and stand in solidarity with the Foundation Fighting Blindness, just celebrating the research and the funds that they've raised for research. And so it's great to see the event culminate and come together.
So how many people show up, more or less?
We should have about 750 walkers this
Nice,
year, but
nice.
It'll be in Central Park, so we can definitely host 1,000, and the more the merrier.
Of course, and hopefully Mother Nature will agree with us.
Oh, fingers crossed.
Yes. So once again, if anyone wanted to get involved, they would just go to the website. Do you have like a calendar of events there?
We do.
Or like an annual?
We do. We have a calendar of events nationwide, and then we also have more New York-based events. And if you're interested particularly in the Vision Walk, you can visit www.visionwalk.org.
And so the last thing before we go, if somebody were like in a state of trying to come to terms with losing their eyesight, what would you recommend for them?
I definitely recommend giving us a call or visiting our website, because a lot of people just don't realize that we're even out there, even though we are a national organization. And I've heard so many sighs of relief when people call and say, I'm just so glad I found this organization. And even though we are research-based, it's nice that we're funding or fundraising for things that are preventative.
Right, beautiful. And of course, support system is everything.
Absolutely.
Everything.
Just to know that we're here and in the
Absolutely.
community.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you,
Thank you so
Olivia.
much.
Thank you. And you guys, once again, the 12th annual New York Vision Walk is taking place on April 14th at the Central Park Band Shell. That's where the registration begins, and that's happening at 9 a.m. And once again, for more information on how you can participate, you can visit fightblindness.org /New York Vision Walk. And there you have it. So we have to take a quick break, but when we return, we'll hear about an upcoming show taking place at Pregones Theaters. Don't go anywhere.
And I can't change, even if I try, even if I wanted to. My love, she keeps me warm. 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 She keeps me warm.
We are neighbors and best friends.
I love my sister.
My heart doesn't see race. Love is love.
Our family is no less than any other family.
Love is kind. Love is patient.
Hello and welcome back to Open, everyone. You know, always inviting you to get social with us. That's right. Tweet us at BronxNet TV, and while you're there, tweet me too at Rhina Valentin. All right, so this year, Harlem 9 is holding its second annual 48 Hours in El Bronx, a collaboration with Pregones Theater. And the play will feature 30 of Harlem 9 creatives who all contribute to 6 10-minute raw impressions of BX dance and music history. And joining us now to share more, we welcome Harlem 9 producer Sandra Daly Sharif. Hello and welcome.
Hello. Thank you for having me here, Rena.
Well,
I'm so happy to be here.
Oh, we're happy to have you. And, you know, as a fellow thespian, I'm very excited about learning more about this project because it's very interesting. However, inquiring minds want to know why the company's name Harlem 9.
Well, I'm an independent producer in Harlem. And I'd say about 9 years ago when I felt like, oh my gosh, I can't do all these things that I was imagining and dreaming alone. I invited all the Black producers that I knew, like, come to my house and let's have dinner and let's talk about what's possible. And I'd say about 20 people showed up at my house. We cooked, we ate, and we talked about what we can do in theater. And when it was all said and done, we were down to 9. And that was where the name came, Harlem 9. But truthfully, we're now down to 6. And it's a family of 6, and we've been together for 8, 9 years.
So you're going to keep it Harlem 9?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, Harlem 9 is its origins, and 9's a good number.
I know.
It's a really good number.
I know. There's something magical about it, and so we decided to keep it, and it's fine.
It's all right. You know, you may be able to fill it with those extra, what is it, 3?
Yeah.
But that being said, 3, you seem to like to play with numbers a lot. And so, and I'm saying this because just even the structure of this presentation, right? Which, congratulations, I understand you won an Obie Award.
I know. Thank you so much.
That's a big deal.
I know, it is a big deal.
Especially for something like this.
Well, especially for something that is really grassroots and it is really about the community. And you must know that we got the Obie for our contribution of diversity to the American theater landscape. It's important. Like, our mission is about celebrating other voices. And in this case with El Bronx, it's about Latino voices.
We love it. And not only the Latino voices, we're also talking about the clubs and the nightlife aspect of it, right? So let's just give everybody a little breakdown because I did introduce it, but just how does the whole thing work, right? You put everybody together and then everybody has to write in a matter of 48 hours? All right, give me the excitement.
Okay, so the way it works is that it's 6 playwrights,
Right.
6 directors, and there are 18 actors, 9 men, 9 women, okay? We all come together Friday evening, and we all talk about these 6 clubs, right? And they go back as far as the 90s. And the playwrights and the directors chat about these clubs, and the playwright is ultimately going to get inspired by these 6 clubs. We randomly give each playwright one of the clubs. They don't know which one they're going to get. And they have to go home that night and write an inspired 10-minute piece about one of these great clubs. What we're really hoping for is that there's going to be some music in these 10-minute pieces. And they have literally hours. They're up most of the night. They have literally hours to write this 10-minute play. And so by 8 o'clock the next morning, Saturday morning, the plays are coming in. We have 6 new inspired plays. The directors and the cast get it, right? And they rehearse all day. Well, I shouldn't say all day. 5 hours on Saturday.
Okay.
They have to be off book. The actors
By
have to
Sunday?
be. Yes.
Oh my God! Oh my God!
And
10 minutes?
Yes.
Okay, so do the actors play multiple versions, or they're
it's-
assigned to one story?
Yes, they're assigned to one story, but it is no easy feat to be off book.
Oh, no, I know.
And it's really, you're up and you're ready to go. I think the actors have the hardest job. And so we tech all day Sunday, and the show goes up that night. But this year in particular, we're doing 2 different locations because Pergones is with Puerto Rican Traveling Theater. They're also in Midtown. So we're doing one show on Sunday.
In the Bronx?
In the Bronx. And the second show is on Monday night.
In Manhattan.
In Manhattan.
And so this is so exciting. I'm like
He's so
scared for the
crazy.
actors.
I know.
No, because listen, I don't know if you guys are getting this. So nobody knows what they're going to get as far as what they're going to either write or what they're going to perform.
Exactly.
And so all of this happens like in a matter of hours within the weekend. So Friday night, these people have no life. All they know is this.
Exactly.
From this until Monday. From Friday
Exactly.
till Monday.
And just know that when we reach out to these artists, it is a real commitment that you're with us for these many hours, right? And please be on your best behavior. No crazy in that amount of time. Because you can imagine, it's like high creativity that's going on. And you know that those actors they're thinking, are you serious? I really have to know all these lines? Yes, it's an amazing weekend. And usually it's sold out. That's what we're aiming for. That's what we want to do. And the audience is crazy.
Well, it sounds like it's going to be a nice, it's almost like being in a short festival, right? But except it's all really one play.
Yes.
And so I want to know how you chose these particular clubs. Or who chose them?
Well, the really important thing about this particular festival that we've been doing now for 8-9 years, and part of the reason why we won this Obie is because it's not just write anything. We want to be inspired by things that are in the community. These clubs came out of the community.
Right.
Some are queer clubs, some are like ballrooms, the Savoy
we have
Manor.
Club 845,
Yes.
Tritons, Disco Fever, that's very popular.
That's a hip hop dance club.
The Savoy Manor, and GT's.
GT's was a famous queer club for Latina population. And then we have Mexico in the Bronx, which features La Senorita. So anybody who's into the club scene, this goes back and now. And so the playwrights are going to be inspired by these clubs. What was going on with those clubs? Some of the clubs had like a taxi thing going on downstairs. People were up till 3, 4 in the morning talking mess.
Talking that smack, hey, we're gonna keep it censored.
Exactly. So it was a great time, and it's great stuff to be inspired by to write these plays. And so I
even-
know we're going to get music in this and dancing.
It sounds like you need to have music in it, right? Because
Yes.
you keep saying it, so I'm trusting you're manifesting the
So if
music.
anybody
to be
drops
in this
out,
scene.
Rena, are you going to come and show up? You look like you're ready.
Oh my gosh, did she just put me on the spot on there? I'm scared. I gotta
crazy.
prepare. I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm scared for the actors. But all that said, I did want to just emphasize that aside from the fact that you are honoring these establishments as well as the history of our culture here in the Bronx and the multiculturalism that is our existence here in the Bronx in all realms of just our classes and our societies and our race and all that, because you're tapping into all of them, right? It's just as important for the audience to understand that that's your stories being told, and you need to show up and support it.
That's right. That's exactly right. And that's part of again, is the mission of what we're doing. It is about going into communities and having these artists tell their singular story. It's important to tell these stories. These are quote unquote marginalized stories in that they're not mainstream. And I want to make sure that they're mainstream. That's what Harlem 9 is about, is making sure that we celebrate our stories, we celebrate our communities, our history, and that's what it's really about at the end of the day.
Yes, and it's important for us as viewers, as audience members, to understand the importance of supporting it, because that's how we're going to have our stories told and heard. That's how they're going to pick it up.
Yay.
Right.
So, is this where I can say buy tickets, please? Because
Yes.
it's Sunday the 8th and Monday the 9th at 7 o'clock. You can go online to harlem9.org. There's going to be a big link that says buy tickets here. Please do go out, buy tickets.
Thank you, Sandra.
Thank you. Thank you, Rena.
All right, you guys, once again, 48 Hours in El Bronx will be performed on April 8th at the Pergones Theater, which is located at 575 Walton Avenue. And then April 9th, it's going to be performed at Pergones PRTT, which is located in Manhattan at 304 West 47th Street. And for information and tickets, visit Harlem9, that's the number 9.org, or you can visit PregonesPRTT.org. And there you have it. All right, you guys stay tuned. Bobby C's Weekly Sports Roundup is coming up next. Don't go anywhere.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. But it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello? That's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
We begin on the big baseball diamond in the Bronx, where the Pinstripers were set to celebrate opening day at Yankee Stadium Monday until Mother Nature intervened. First, it was snow that postponed the action for both the Yanks and the Mets on Monday. Tuesday, it was rain. The Yankee opener against Tampa Bay was moved to 4:05 p.m. and delayed a bit further. It was a soggy one and a forgettable one for new Yankee slugger Giancarlo Stanton. Stanton, who homered twice on the season's opening day in Toronto, struck out 5 times Tuesday against the Rays. But don't worry, another cleanup hitter saved the day. More on that in a moment. The Boo Birds were out for the reigning National League MVP. Was Stanton surprised he got booed by Yankee fans for striking out 5 times on opening day? Nope. Open quote, you put up a performance like that, you should get some boos. Close quote. Aaron Judge said Stanton won't let it bother him. Open quote, everyone's been booed. It's no big deal. He knows that. You got to go out there and just do your job the next day. If you don't have it one day, you can't complain, can't mope, which he's not. He knows how it is. He just didn't have his best stuff today, so he's going to keep working and go get him tomorrow, close quote. While Stanton flopped, Didi Gregorius picked up the slack. The Bronx Bomber shortstop with his choke-up swing. That's how you do it, kids. Hit a pair of 3-run homers and drove in a career-high 8 RBIs as the Yanks down the Rays 11-4. Now that's a cleanup hitter. Here's more from the clubhouse and the postgame.
Something nice, but like I was telling the guys, like I was telling earlier too, you know, it's not about just me, you know, it's about a team, you know, because without the guys getting on base, I couldn't have those RBIs. So, I mean, but for me, it's not worry about all the records. As long as we're trying to play and win, that's all I'm trying to do. Don't worry about all that at the end of the year, at the end of the year, you got to worry about it. But right now, it's just to try to play to win.
Just a lot of fun to watch him work and watch him continue to get better. And you know, he's really a special player. We're glad to have him on our side. And overall, it was a really good you know, home opening day for us.
We've seen a really good player continue to get better and better each year, and you know, and he's come out this year, and it's been a lot of good at bats. I mean, up in Toronto, you know, even though he did some damage up there were some hard outs that they ran down against him. So, you know, he's a guy you like seeing come up there in a big spot and with runners on base, and you know, came through in a big way tonight.
It was great. It was a lot of fun. I mean, you know, I thought Jordan Montgomery pitched really, really well. You know, guys in our bullpen did a good job, and you know, overall, I thought it was a good day. Our fans were awesome as always. I mean, the conditions out there were not ideal. So there was a lot more fans here than I expected. They were a lot louder than I expected, and you know, that helps us play better.
The Bombers continued their homestand with Baltimore this weekend. Yanks have looked pretty good, but honestly, the Mets have looked better. Matt Harvey allowed 1 hit over 5 sharp innings in his encouraging season debut, and the Amazons beat the Philadelphia Phillies 2-0 on a rainy Tuesday night at Citi Field. Was Harvey great? The results certainly were. 5 innings, 1 hit, no runs, 5 Ks. He wasn't overpowering, averaging 91.7 miles per hour with his fastball, but seemed to throw it with more confidence, often challenging the Phillies up in the zone. 7 of his 10 non-strikeouts came in the air, including 2 infield pop-ups. It was a positive step for Harvey and the Mets. Some injury news for both the locals. Relief pitcher Anthony Swarzak was placed on the 10-day DL on Tuesday after straining a muscle on his left side in just his second appearance with New York. But the Mets could get outfielder Michael Conforto back this week. The Yankees shut down outfielder Jacoby Ellsbury for a couple of days due to a hip issue. With all of the injuries in the outfield for the Bombers, he would actually get some playing time. On the ice, the New Jersey Devils are the toast of the 3 local teams. Taylor Hall and rookie Will Butcher scored 2 goals apiece, and the Devils moved to the brink of their first playoff berth since 2012 with a 5-2 victory over the Rangers on Tuesday night. Meanwhile, from the NBA, the Bulls win over Charlotte, coupled with the Knicks' loss to Orlando Tuesday night, leaves New York and Chicago tied for 8th place in the lottery standings. The Bulls reeled off 3 straight victories. The Orlando Magic beat New York 97-73 on Tuesday night. Notre Dame is the women's national champion on the college basketball hardwood, and Villanova is the men's champ. The Wildcats, soundly defeated Michigan Monday night 79-62. They have a modern-day dynasty of sorts. The Wildcats are 165-21 since the start of the 2013-14 season, a stretch that includes a pair of national championships. They've won 2 of the last 3 and a combined 7 Big East regular season or tournament titles. The most impressive aspect of Villanova's latest title run was the ease with which the Wildcats laid waste to their opponents. Villanova became the first national champion since North Carolina 9 years ago to win all 6 of its NCAA tournament games by double figures, a run that will forever enhance the legacies of those who helped achieve it. Jay Wright boosted his credentials for the Naismith Hall of Fame and put himself in elite company. The only other 2 active Division I college basketball coaches with multiple championships are Duke's Coach K with 5 and North Carolina's Roy Williams with 3. Golden Boy Promotions president Eric Gomez announced Tuesday that the hotly anticipated rematch for the middleweight title between Canelo Alvarez and Triple G has been canceled as a result of Alvarez's 2 failed drug tests on February 17th and February 21st. That's too bad. In the world of MMA and UFC, two big fights are going down in Brooklyn Saturday night. Max Holloway will dare to do something that only one other UFC fighter has done when he steps into the octagon against Khabib at UFC 223. If Holloway wins, he'll follow Conor McGregor as the only fighter to hold two titles simultaneously. Unlike McGregor, however, Holloway will have to pull off defeat on only 6 days' notice against the unbeaten Khabib after stepping in for the injured Tony Ferguson. But if the UFC featherweight champion pulls off what oddmakers deem as highly improbable this weekend, Holloway may already have plans to one-up McGregor, who was the last fighter to beat him. I'll be rooting for Max. I would like to see a rematch with Conor. Either way, Khabib McGregor or Holloway McGregor would be a big card for the UFC. Here's more in our UFC preview.
I'm pretty happy that this came together the way that it did. So no complaining here. He literally said, I'll fight anybody. And then he said, I'm in.
This is how legends are made, you know? This guy's one of the best guys in the world. The best 55er, everybody. People don't want to fight him. Well, to be the best, you gotta beat the best, and the best is blessed, baby. Let's go.
When cage close, I'm gonna give him like hard 25 minutes.
This is how you become a legend, you know? I keep cementing my legacy, and this is a step in the right direction.
How you gonna beat me?
We're gonna find out Saturday night!
How you gonna make
We're gonna find out Saturday night, baby!
I was the champion for a reason. I defended my title for the 5th time, and I'm going to win the belt one more time and becoming one of the baddest female fighters in the world.
I expect the best version of me versus the best version of her, and me to be free out there and do what I love to do.
I'm a champ for a reason, you know? You gotta stay focused, you gotta stay ready, and we're here now, so I can't wait, you know? A couple more days, make weight, go fight, you know, and go eat some cupcakes, so I'm looking forward to it.
You're not ready for this.
Khabib, you know what is beautiful? You know what is beautiful? We find out Saturday night, baby.
Hey, New York, you're always awesome. Thank you guys very much, and we will see you on Saturday.
That is a pay-per-view worth buying. Those are the headlines. We hit the C-list for a deal for the Knicks worth making. I have already made this comment on the show a couple of times before, but it's worth making again. This past week, Kemba Walker became the all-time leading scorer in Charlotte Hornets history, an incredible achievement for a player many felt would never make it in the NBA. Walker defied the odds at UConn, leading the Huskies to a national championship, and he's lived up to all of his first-round pick status. He was the 9th overall selection in 2011. Today, the 27-year-old Walker is an all-star. And honestly, if anyone can save the Knicks, I believe it's the Bronx legend himself. He's averaging 22.6 points and 5.6 assists this season for Charlotte. Despite all of that, I expect him to be available on the trade market. He's in his prime, and he would pair well with Kristaps Porzingis. New York's 2018 first pick currently has the 8th best odds in the draft lottery, which is good enough to function as the centerpiece of a deal. The Knicks also have 2 contracts expiring in 2020, Joakim Noah and Courtney Lee. That could be used as a salary filler in a deal that allows the Hornets to unload a massive salary. The Knicks reportedly spoke to Charlotte about Walker at this year's trade deadline. Nothing happened, of course, but that doesn't mean that a deal can't get done this offseason. Considering each team's respective needs, expanding the deal to involve Walker is doable. I would surrender that draft pick, deal some of the garbage on the roster from the Knicks, and make Kemba the centerpiece of the Knicks' new lineup. That's your sports. I'm Bobby C.
Welcome back to Open, everyone. Dance is a powerful expression allowing the body to communicate messages. And I had the opportunity to speak to a director that is all about pushing artistic boundaries through dance sentences. Let's take a look. Our Open Artist Spotlight features Devalois Ferran, an acclaimed dancer, teacher, choreographer from the BX, who explores social issues while pushing artistic boundaries. And here to tell us more about herself and her dance company, we welcome Devalois Ferran. Hello and welcome.
Hello, thank you.
All right, so I love that you identify as being from the BX, but
right.
your origins are from Jamaica, right? And so one of the things I notice about you, and of course we're going to introduce you to our viewers, is that you get commissioned a lot as a dancer. And so give us a little background as to, I guess, your origins together with what allows your dance style to stand out, that you're quite commissioned regularly.
Well, I think it has a lot to do with the fact that I have a very diverse movement vocabulary. So beginning with reggae, you know, most Jamaicans, most house parties that we always have, reggae is gonna happen and we're all gonna be moving and we're all gonna be dancing. And then growing up, of course, in the Bronx, you're exposed to hip hop, you're exposed to salsa, merengue, bachata, step dancing. So that was the beginnings of my dance training. And then when I started to become when I decided to become a professional, going through Alvin Ailey and then getting exposed to postmodern dance at Purchase and then dancing with Petronio for 12 years has given me a big, wide spectrum. And so now I'm telling stories that are pulling from my Jamaican roots, but I'm using all of these vocabularies in order to do that.
I love that you use the term movement vocabulary, right? Because when dancing presents itself into a space, it's a communication that obviously is nonverbal, but what identifies each individual is what they're exuding from a spiritual place. And I can tell just in your eyes that you come with this spirituality. So I know we're going to get a taste of what it is that you present, but just for the time being, and before I get to see it, I want to know, what is that about you that you bring that stands out? I know I opened up with that question, but there's I'm just very curious, because I'm reading your bio, I'm like, wow, this woman is commissioned a lot.
Yeah, I think it's definitely where I'm pulling my work from and what inspires me to make work. I mean, the first work that I made was Consider Water, and Consider Water was out of a conversation with a UN ambassador who was the keynote speaker for the water crisis conference. And I was saying to him that, you know, when I go back home to Jamaica, I know what it's like to be with, you know, to live in situations where there's not much water. And so he's like, well, what are you going to do about it? And that just completely triggered me to say, well, I have dance. So I have dance so I can bring these stories that are coming from my family, from ancestors that are, of course, going way back, you know, further than the Bronx and Jamaica. And I put that on stage, and I'm dancing from those places when I perform and when I make my work.
It's lovely. So there's that social consciousness element that's incorporated into your spiritual movement as well. I haven't even seen it, and I'm like looking so forward to it. So let's talk a little bit about what it is that you're working on right now and what you're going to be presenting for us.
Well, what I'm going to be presenting is a brand new piece that I just premiered, actually, yesterday at Mambo Minds, and it's called Time to Talk, and you're going to see a small small excerpt of that. And Time to Talk kind of is the bedrock for the Bronx Museum Commission that I'm going to be doing next week, Saturday at 4 o'clock. And it really takes what I did in Time to Talk and brings it to another level. So that's what I'm in the process of creating, and that's what I'm hoping people will come see. But as a little teaser, we're going to start with the impetus of me exploring all of these different languages and stories that live within my body, which started with my solo work, Time to Talk.
Nice. So it's appropriate that we're using terms like word sentences and movement vocabulary, meaning word sentences through movement. And I can't wait to see what this conversation is going to be.
Yeah.
So before we go, let's just share the details of this presentation that you're going to be doing at the Bronx Museum.
Sure. So it's going to be a site-specific performance, and it's going to be my dance company, David Lois Farron Dance. There'll be 2 other dancers with me. And it starts at 4 o'clock with an exhibition walkthrough and a little performance also in the lobby. And they commissioned me because I actually felt really aligned with Jordan Matta Clark, who's currently being exhibited there. And his work also has a social and component to it, and also started actually in the Bronx during the when the Bronx was burning.
Right.
You know, he went into these buildings and he hollowed them out, and he was bringing attention to what was happening to those people at that time. And so I actually got this commission to look at his tree dance and make my own kind of like interpretation of what that looks like in 2018. So pulling from the environment and pulling from social consciousness in order to make this work. So it's only fitting that we then go across the street to the Andrew Friedman home lawn at 5 o'clock to do an outdoor performance. And then we wrap it up in my true Jamaican style with food, drinking, dancing, and talking. So there'll be a panel where I have some invited guests that are experts in with the different medical issues that are affecting the Bronx and environmental issues affecting the Bronx. And at 6 o'clock, that will take place back at the lobby at the museum.
At the museum.
Yes.
So, but the meeting point is at the Bronx Museum.
At the Bronx Museum.
And that's on Saturday,
April 7th.
April 7th.
Yes,
right.
at 4 o'clock. 4 o'clock will be the exhibition, 5 o'clock outdoor performance, 6 o'clock panel with reception.
Oh my goodness, I love it. Thank you so much for
Thank
being here with us
Thank
on
you.
Open. And you guys, we have to take a quick break, but when we return, David Lois is going to perform an excerpt from her piece, Time to Talk. So don't go anywhere. Yeah. Welcome back to Open, everyone. It's now time for this week's Open Artist Spotlight. Here to delight us with an excerpt of her dance piece, Time to Talk, let's give it up for David Lois Farron. Wow. Wow. Woo! Yes, thank you. Oh my goodness, did you feel that? I hope you guys felt that. I know I did. All right, once again, don't forget, Dave Alois is performing at the Bronx Museum of the Arts on April 7th at 4 p.m. As Above, As Below is the name of the entire piece. This was just an excerpt of Time to Talk, right? Oh my gosh, I don't know what else you have to say. You guys are gonna have to witness that on your own. And once again, for more information on Dave Alois Fearon Company, you can visit davealoisferon.com. We're taking a quick break, but when we return, we get the scoop behind this year's Great American Hat Show. Don't go anywhere.
Well, Thomas, you've got prediabetes. But with more exercise and a change in diet, it can be reversed.
I've tried exercising. It just makes me hungry for bacon.
I love bacon, too. And who really likes to exercise?
Not me.
Me neither.
Nobody. So we're good?
What? Oh, you still have prediabetes. Big time.
If you want to stay in the know about the latest happenings en español, check out Diálogo Abierto, BronxNet's own Spanish show, Wednesdays 6:30 p.m. on Channel 67. The latest in news, arts, culture, politics, and what's going on in your neighborhood. Diálogo Abierto, the best way to stay connected in Spanish. See you there. Te esperamos.
Hello and welcome back to Open, everyone. You know, always inviting you to get social with us. That's right. Tweet us at BronxNet TV and tweet me too at Rhina Valentin. We're about to have a little sneak peek of the Great American Hat Show, which is an annual event that features some of the most creative and stylish hats along with workshops. And this year's theme is Hats of the Future. And joining us to share all the wonderful visual colors that will be displayed, we welcome founder Harriet Rosebud of Rosebud Hats.
Hello.
Hello and welcome.
It's one of my favorite places to be this time of year.
This is one of my favorite segments of this time of the year.
Yeah, we've got to know each other, and I really love you.
Oh.
I love your personality and all. Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I love your creativity. I love how you're able to like craft these just beautiful storylines, right? Because for me, this is like a story, and then bring it to life in a form that is wearable.
Right.
Right?
That's the whole idea. Yeah.
And so this that I'm wearing today is called a Fascinator. I learned that the last time she was on air.
Absolutely.
And so she brought this for me to wear today.
Absolutely.
To give you guys a little taste of the Great American Hat Show.
Right.
And I hope you guys like it. I certainly enjoy wearing them. And so Harriet makes hats, and in addition to that, she puts this lovely event together that we're going to talk a little bit more about. But let's talk about how you choose your themes every year.
Well, themes are very important to me. I think that this year, Hats to the Future really explores how we are going to be living in the future. So I use a lot of different elements like paper, stone, metal. I use feathers. So I want to just explore how fashion will look in, let's say, year 2082. And we do that very well. One of the scenes in the show this year is called Butterflies Are Beautiful. I love butterflies. It is a natural extension of the animal kingdom. And
so they also represent spring.
They do
which
represent.
we're really trying really
Yeah,
hard
they
to call
do.
into our
Right.
cipher right now. 'Cause
Right,
it's a
and
little
it's all
delayed.
about color
Mhm.
and just the movement. So so that's a big key part of our show this year.
No, I'm looking at this beautiful model here, and this hat that is filled with butterflies, and just how she's wearing it so effortlessly, and it's actually, even though it's really like big in the sense of like, oh wow, that's a big looking, like, as in it
Right.
makes a really strong statement.
Right.
It's something I would wear.
Okay, right?
Yeah.
So it's about the butterflies traveling. So I wanted to show in this hat the motion of the butterfly. So the hat sort of travels. It sort of it starts at one place, like at the waist, and it sort of goes around her head. So it's the animal is moving, or the insect is moving.
So I'm hoping that they can do a close up on what we're discussing here, because he's got it right now. So keep going around, and so the hat itself clips here, but then it kind of like scoops into the skirt.
Yes.
And it's really
so it's like the path of the butterflies.
Okay.
We wore it this year at the Easter Parade.
Uh-huh.
We did several of them, and all of these types of hats have motion, and it sort of shows how the butterfly starts and how the butterfly ends. So it's really a very interesting insect to me, so I enjoy that. But we have lots of other types of things. This year we have Stephanie Morris Nunn, and earlier in your segment you were talking about people that were visually challenged. Well, Stephanie Morris Nunn is going to be our focus designer this year, and she is visually impaired and challenged, but she does not let that stop her. She creates these fabulous designs out of wire. And it's
saw
just,
that.
Yeah.
I saw that, and hopefully we'll be able to show images of that, because it looks like crochet, right? So I'm assuming, and this is just me making an assumption, because she's considered legally blind, that her work has texture in it.
Yes, and it's such fine techniques that she uses. And she has good days and bad days. That's what she shares with me. She says some days are good, some days are bad. She was born with a degenerative disease, but she has not let that impair her at all.
And the work is beautiful.
Yeah.
To top it off, it's like really stunning work. It really is.
Right.
And so just because we tapped into one of the workshops, can we just talk about the other ones as well? Because it's I want everybody to understand that while it is a hat show, there are other components to this presentation, because we also have a dance presentation. Like, let's go give them a rundown of what the day looks like.
The day starts off with workshops. We have a fantastic woman who will come and talk to her about her challenges in life. She started off very young in life, going the wrong way, the wrong direction. She sort of got a handle on that, and now she writes motivational books about how to get on the right track. We call that segment Women Who Win. We also have a segment, that one of my favorite segments, which is the Fascinator class, which I want to get you in one day, where you actually make you actually craft all of your own fascinators. So you put your own feathers and your
Fascinators.
own.
Just so everybody's clear, she's saying they're actually giving a workshop on how to make these.
These fascinators, right. But this year focuses on futuristic materials. So we're going to be using paper and metal. I'm assuming that not everything will be available to us in the future. Hopefully our planet will get it together. But if not, we will be using things like paper to craft our wearable art. And so you really get that hands-on experience. We move into this fabulous show that has 7 wonderful scenes that explores women. For instance, one scene is called The Temple, and we sort of explore the headdress of women of different religions in efforts to show how we all have some sense of commonality. but it is a beautiful segment that explores the headdress of all these women of different nationalities and different religions. So that's really positive this year.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
the diversity.
Yeah,
and
we got-
finding. My favorite line in life is to find similarities and differences. Right?
Yes.
And so everybody wears hats in one form or another.
Right.
They cover their head for
Right.
various reasons.
For various reasons, and so we explore that. We also have a sheen called Hats to the Future, in which we all use all of these elements of metal and rocks and paper and all of these elements to create these hats.
I love it.
So,
It's-
and we have a wonderful dance company coming in.
The Green.
The Greenworks project.
Greenworks project.
Yeah, the Greenworks project is
they look
amazing.
lovely.
I saw them in Ohio. Their sense of movement and timing is just really phenomenal. And so with all these elements together, dance, film, and fashion, it creates this really beautiful expression.
Right,
Yeah.
it's an
Yeah.
an expression of empowerment.
Yes.
And then you have the fabulous hair.
Yeah.
The headwear.
Now,
right?
now
So-
we're going to be selling these wares too. We have different women. Stephanie will have her things there to sell. Of course, my hats will be on sale there. We have from the Brownstone, which is a lifestyle shop in Harlem. She will be there. The American Hat Factory out of Philadelphia will be there. So it's just a lot of things going on that day.
So where
Yeah.
can people get tickets?
Well, you can go online, HarrietRosebudHats.com, and just click on and purchase your ticket to the show. We are really excited about it this year, and we're looking forward to it.
Oh,
Yeah.
we're really
Yeah,
excited
yeah.
for you, and we're
Yeah.
excited to share it with our viewers.
Yes.
And here's to metamorphosizing
Yes,
another
yes,
year.
yes,
Oh, there's-
absolutely. Thank you.
There's
thank
your
you, thank
reference
you.
to the butterflies.
Yes, absolutely.
Lovely.
Thank you.
You
thank
guys,
you.
thank you so much for being here. Harriet, once again, for the Great American Hat Show. You guys, that's taking place on April 27th through the 28th at the Watson Hotel, which is located at 440 West 57th Street in New York. And for more information, visit HarrietRosebudHats.com. That is our show today, mi gente. Thanks to all our guests for coming through, and to you, our viewers, for tuning in. If you missed any part of the show, you can check out the recablecast tonight and 24 hours a day at BronxNet.tv. I'm Rhina Valentin, and from all of us here at Open, may the universe provide peace, prosperity, y amor. Happy spring, everyone.